Oh, he's probably having dinner with Tracy or something like that.
Probably. How was Leslie when you talked to her?
Oh, she's fine. Everything under control, anyway.
Did you explain to her why I told you about the fight that Laura and Bobby had?
Of course I did.
Well, what did you say?
I said that I told you that you had to tell me. It was the truth.
Did she understand?
I think so. She was mainly relieved that Laura, after she disappeared after the fight, hadn't run away again like she used to. Just gone for a walk.
So how is she? Laura, I mean.
Well, Leslie said that she seemed all right, taking everything into consideration. Scotty came by for dinner tonight, and he always seems to have a calming effect on her.
Yeah, that's good. Rick, the more I think about it, the more I am sure that it was Bobby that goaded Laura into that fight today.
How can you be so sure of that?
Because I've seen Laura on other occasions very upset, and it's right after a conversation with Bobby. And I really believe that Bobby has been jealous of Laura, and I think now that Scotty's going, well, he's seen Laura again, that I wouldn't put it past Bobby to do anything she could to hurt Laura.
If Bobby deliberately pushed Laura into some sort of physical violence, then she certainly knows Laura's most vulnerable area.
What do you mean?
Well, what bothers Laura most these days is the fact that she lost her control that night with David. And in that moment of blind hurt and anger, she pushed him, accidentally killing him.
So you're saying that she's afraid she might do something like that again?
I think that's the root of it. Yes, she's terrified that she has a pattern of violence in her personality that may come out again. You know, this thing with Bobby this afternoon, I'm sure that she's going to be more afraid of that than ever. I'm just glad you were there so you could help her again.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I hate to think of what might have happened if I hadn't walked into that book room when I did.
Yeah.
Alan!
Hello, darling. Hello, Rick.
The chair. Join us.
Thank you. Excuse me.
I just called the apartment. I was trying to find you.
Well, I knew you were going to be late in surgery today, so I decided to work late myself and catch up on some correspondence and reading.
Newsflash, I might be late here tonight, too.
Monica, why don't you go with Ellen now?
No. I'm going to wait here and see what kind of condition Mrs. Rockwell's in. Look, Rick, if she needs additional surgery, I want to be here to assist.
Let's pray she doesn't. I don't think she could withstand another operation, not in her present condition.
Oh, look, are you going to IC now?
Yes, I'm going to IC now, and you are going to spend a little while with Alan. That Dutch Quartermain is an order.
Thank you. Listen, I'll be there in just a little while.
Take your time.
See you, Rick. Take care.
Right.
Ship's the bass in the night, then.
Not every night, thank goodness. I couldn't take that.
I'm glad you came by. I mean, even if we spend just a short while together. I think that's important, don't you?
Yes, I do. And I had to find you for another reason.
What?
I got the results back of my test this afternoon.
And?
And I've spent an hour with Dr. Fisher going over them.
Come on, don't. I mean, what did the test show?
There is no reason on this earth why we can't produce an entire regiment of Quartermains.
Oh, I'm so glad. And you will. I mean, we owe it to your mother, don't we?
Not to mention Tracy. Won't she be thrilled?
Oh, yes, of course, Tracy. I can't wait to see the look on her face when she finds out she's going to be an aunt.
This is quite an estate, Tracy.
You say so, Mitch.
Yeah, I'd say so, and you would say so, too, if you knew how the other half lives. Why are you so worried about your grandfather's trust fund? I mean, do you realize that your income for 1 year is more than most people make in a lifetime?
Everything's relative, Mitch.
I don't understand abstracts when it comes to dollars and cents, Tracy. I never have.
That's because you don't have to. All you have to know is that I want control of that trust fund by the time Nettie is 12 years old. The only thing that's getting in my way is the possibility that Alan and Monica can produce a male heir with the Quartermain name.
Look, water main power are going to be able to stop the natural life processes.
Maybe not. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up trying, Mitch.
Oh, Tracy, be realistic. Alan and Monica are two healthy human beings. There's a good chance they're going to produce a child within the next 5 years, and certainly by Nettie's 12th birthday.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Oh, come on, be realistic.
Mitch, Monica is not pregnant yet, and it's certainly not because she and Alan haven't been trying.
How do you know this?
Because I know that they want a child very badly. They talk about it lightly, but it has become the most important thing on earth to them.
Does your mind ever stop in your sleep?
Does yours?
Touche. Okay, I'd like to hang on to your stock portfolios and all these records for another few days, all right?
Be my guest. Any ideas?
Yeah, I got lots of ideas, all free advice. Just like to keep it between the two of us.
You bet. I won't breathe a word of it to anybody. I'm just grateful you've finally taken an interest in my estate. But I want to know something. I know you like to be a man of mystery. Why are you so interested? Tell me.
Not a man of mystery. Just before I went into politics, I dabbled in financial advising. And I still do it from time to time.
I'm glad something about me interests you.
Yeah. But let me give you a word of advice right from the start.
You bet.
Drop the whole trust fund about your grandfather until Monica has a child, okay?
Gee, I'd sort of hoped that your advice was going to be on a more personal level, but business before pleasure? I always like to stay a step ahead of the game anyway.
It's wasted energy. If she has a child, there's a 50-50 chance it's going to be a girl, right?
Right.
And a female heir does not stand a chance, only a male heir. Well, what was it about your grandfather? He didn't like women or what?
Oh, on the contrary, he was quite a ladies' man.
That's strange, because the way the whole trust fund is set up, the female heir doesn't stand a chance.
That was just the thinking in Granddaddy's time. Girls don't have the brains or the guts to handle big money, he thought.
If he was around now, he'd change his tune, right?
Not necessarily.
What?
Well, I adored my grandfather, but he was deeply eccentric, and even more so the older he got.
Really, when did he set up the fund?
Just before he died, why?
Was this eccentricity just known within the family, or was it public knowledge?
It was the talk of Wall Street. There were 2 books written about him. Stories of Edgar Quatermain, a legend.
Well.
What?
If it was known that he was an eccentric, we could contest the fund.
I can't believe what you're saying, Mitch.
Just a little thing to fall back on if Monica produces a boy. That's it.
You are really something, Mitch. You know that, don't you? In fact, you are more like my grandfather than anybody I've ever met.
I'm an eccentric.
The way your mind works. The way you can come up with ideas to get past anything that gets in your way. In other words, Mitch, you are a winner. And I want to tell you that there's nothing in this world that excites me more than a winner.
Would you like to see menus now?
Ah, Susan, I think we're going to wait for Heather, if that's okay with everyone else.
Oh, of course, Chip, of course.
Okay, how is Heather?
Oh, just fine, Susan, thank you. In fact, she's visiting with PJ and Diana right now.
I should have known without asking.
Why is that?
Well, now that Mrs. Taylor's back from the hospital, I'm sure Heather wants to spend every possible moment with PJ. Oh, excuse me, customers. Just let me know when you're ready to order.
Oh, she is such a pretty girl.
Oh, yeah, she sure is. I'm really glad she's finally starting to meet some friends here. You know, she's sort of seeing Mitch Williams, our assistant DA. She introduced me to him the other night, and he offered to get me a complete police rundown on Cal Jameson whenever I wanted it.
Well, why haven't you taken him up on the offer?
Well, Audrey, Jameson is my one hope of finding out what really happened to Stephen Lars, and I can't take the chance of scaring him away. And I hope we don't bore you with this stuff.
Oh, no. I just can't believe your child might actually have been sold in some sort of black market ring.
I'm afraid that's all I can believe right now.
Oh, tell you, after some of the things I saw in Africa when I was nursing there, I thought nothing could ever shock me again. But the native tribes that I work with were highly civilized in comparison to people you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, listen, please don't say anything to Heather about it when she gets here, okay?
No. Why? I should think that the hope that her baby is alive would outweigh anything she might feel.
Well, it's kind of a long story and one that I'm not too proud of, but... Well, you see, Heather was in New York alone and helplessly ill herself when Stephen Lars supposedly died of pneumonia.
Terrible for her.
Yeah. And it was such a traumatic experience for her that even the mention of his name brings back a whole flood of bad memories.
Oh, I can certainly understand that. I can't think of anything worse than losing your baby.
Jeff, I have a suggestion to make before Heather arrives.
What's that, Steve?
I think you should let Mitch Williams go ahead and get the report on Jameson. Jameson wouldn't have to know anything about it, and at least it would give you some idea of what kind of a man you're dealing with.
You know, that does make sense. I mean, how can you possibly find out if Mr. Williams and the police handle it for you?
You know, maybe you're right. I've got to do something else besides just sit around waiting for Jameson to call me back. Yeah. I'll get Mitch's number from Susan tonight.
Good.
Jeff, did you talk to Leslie or Laura this afternoon before they left the hospital?
Oh, no, I'd been in surgery up until about a half an hour ago. Why?
There was a very unpleasant incident between Bobby Spencer and Laura in the book room this afternoon.
Bobby Spencer, isn't she the student nurse that showed me around the hospital?
Yeah, she's the one. It seems that she and Jeff's niece, Laura, have been at swords points for quite some time. This afternoon, the whole thing erupted.
Audrey, I'm having enough trouble with the hospital board as it is without having catfights between student nurses and volunteer workers.
All right, I'm as concerned about it as you are, and I am certainly going to take some steps to make sure that it never happens again.
Well, Audrey, what happened exactly?
Well, of course, I only have Bobby's version of this, but as from what she says, she went down to the book room and Laura was there alone.
Sure, I read all this myself when it first broke. Laura Weber. Tell me, how come you were all in a sweat over some high school kid that knocked off her lover?
Listen, Luke, I don't want to go into all the grisly details. This chick has been trouble for me for a long time.
You never had any trouble before getting rid of people who got in your way? What's the matter, baby? You losing your touch?
I tried to handle it myself today. Too many people at that hospital know how I feel about her. They're going to be watching every move I make. So from now on, I can't have anything to do with her personally. It could ruin everything I worked so hard for.
Oh, I know that look, Bobby. I'd hate to be on the receiving end. Okay. What do you want me to do about her?
I want her sent off to reform school. That's where she belongs, and that's where she'd be if her parents weren't famous doctors with big, expensive lawyers to pull strings and get her off. What? What's so funny?
Oh, baby, you got the wrong number.
What?
Look, I got no pull with the juvenile court. Oh, look, you want her roughed up a little bit. I talked to a couple of the boys here about that.
No. Will you listen? I got a plan. I can't handle it myself. I need someone to pull it off for me. So listen, and listen very carefully.
And I'm trying to get rid of you, but don't you think you better go meet Jeff?
I don't want to leave you here all alone, Diana.
Oh, Heather, I'm fine. Mom said she's going to be back in a few minutes, and you heard my conversation with Peter. He said he was on his way.
Well, all right. But before I go, I want you to reconsider, and please, let PJ's nurse go, and I'll come in and take care of him every day the way I used to.
No, it is simply out of the question. Heather, you're going to have your own baby by springtime. You forget all about PJ.
Never. I will always love him. Almost as much as if he were my own son.
Hi, honey. Hi, Mom. Oh, thank you, Heather. And thanks for staying with Diana. How was your visit with the Spragues?
Lovely. She sent her best to you and Peter.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very sweet of her.
How things go here?
Fine. Just fine.
PJ okay?
Yes, he's sound asleep.
Good.
Well, I guess I had better be going. Okay. Good night, Diana. Good night, Heather. Thanks for keeping me company. And remember, the word's patience.
Yeah, I'll try. Good night, Mrs. Maynard.
Good night, dear.
Come on, you sit down.
Oh, yeah, thank you. You know something? I thought that things would change once Heather got pregnant. But it hasn't. She's still as crazy about PJ as she ever was. She even asked me to fire the nurse so she could take care of PJ.
Well, I'm sure she still feels the loss of her own little boy.
Yeah.
You know, one time she actually called PJ Stephen Lars.
She did?
When? Oh, it was that night that I picked PJ up at Heather and Jeff's and brought him back here. She looked so forlorn. She broke my heart.
I'm glad you told me that, Mom. I didn't realize it had gone that far.